Welcome to Terrifying Tales, the channel dedicated to bringing you original horror stories. Please support the channel by hitting the like button or leaving a comment. Please consider subscribing to the channel by hitting the subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. The Werewolf of Timberfield. The wiper blades of the Toyota kicked away snow from the windscreen. Kelsey's eyes took in the gentle rhythm of the blades. The snow, only a sprinkle, cleared with no resistance with each stroke. Well, that's something, Kelsey thought. This trip was her idea. If the snow had been heavier, she would have felt guilty dragging her friends all this way for a college project. Kelsey had stumbled upon an old article from the mid-80s, sparking her interest. The article centred around the spate of missing persons cases in Timberfield National Forest. It referenced similar runs of people going missing in the 50s. The National Forest wasn't a place many went to visit anymore. Kelsey was aware the National Forest existed before finding the article, and knew it wasn't a popular place to visit anymore. She'd assumed, because it was 1996, people had better things to do now than go camping. But now she considered there was probably a more sinister reason for people giving the place a wide berth. The gentle offerings of the gin blossoms drifted to Kelsey's ears through the headphones of her portable CD player. From her periphery, Kelsey could see Jake speaking as he concentrated on the road in front of him. How long's he been talking? She wondered. Kelsey pulled the headphones away from her ears. What's up? Jake's face tensed. So you haven't heard a single word I've said? Sorry. Kelsey knew Jake was sweet on her. That's why she knew he'd say yes before she asked him to drive them 4 hours away from the city in the snow. Kelsey knew it was cruel to take advantage of that fact, but didn't know how else she could get to Timberfield. Jake's frown melted away. We're almost at the tourist car park at the forest's edge. I just wanted to know where your guide is meeting us. Oh. Kelsey pulled her spiral notebook from her pack beside her feet. She'd made meticulous notes for the trip. His name's Stephen. Her eyes drifted toward the dashboard clock. And he should already be there waiting for us. Jake nodded. Jennifer pulled herself up from the back seat with a yawn. How much further? About 10 minutes, Jake said. Jennifer leaned against the headrest of Kelsey's seat. So what's the story with this place? Kelsey turned wide-eyed. Seriously? I told you everything last week. Why did you agree to come along if you weren't paying attention? Jennifer shrugged. Beat staying snowed in the dorms all weekend. Kelsey sighed. It's a basic story. Timberfields used to be a popular forest for camping, hunting and fishing. A few people went missing in the 50s. They never found the missing people, but they attributed the cases to misadventure. People stopped visiting the place. Eventually people forgot about it, and in the 80s people started going again. With it, missing persons cases started again too. It caused a panic the second time around. It was more people, and instead of people on their own, whole camping and hunting groups were going missing. Jennifer gripped Kelsey's shoulder. Dun dun dun! Kelsey ignored the comment. Again, there was no trace of anyone, but this time they recovered some of the people's camping gear. With wider media coverage, people stopped going to the forest for good. So what's the theory? Jake said. Animal attacks? Accidents? Weather? All of those, Kelsey said. But there's some other theories too. Like what? Jennifer's eyes widened. Nonsense. Kelsey ran her hands through her hair. Alien abductions, monsters. A crazy old guy in the area swears he bumped into a werewolf one night. Aliens, Jennifer sighed. I see enough of them in class back on campus. Kelsey couldn't help but giggle. We're here, Jake said. He pulled the car to a stop in the snowfield car park. It's so pretty, Jennifer whispered. Kelsey couldn't argue. The gentle layer of snow only added to the beauty of the endless trees with the mountain backdrop. We've got a problem, Jake said. The guide's not here. Huh? Kelsey scanned the car park. Are you sure about everything? Jennifer asked. Kelsey studied her notebook again. Yes, we have the right day and time, and we're in the right place. Stephen should be here. Ooh, Stephen. I hope he's cute, Jennifer said. The three jumped in their seats at the heavy knock on the driver's side window. Are you Kelsey? The man asked. She nodded, her heart still racing. This must be Stephen. The first thing she noticed was his piercing green eyes. Tall, dark, handsome, he is cute, Jennifer said. Kelsey agreed. Stephen's heavy coat did little to hide his athletically strong frame. Are we going to do this? Stephen said. Or do you want me to stand out here in the cold until you drive away? Oh, right. Kelsey fumbled for the door handle and pulled herself from the car. The wind's chill was immediate. She pulled the hood of her coat up. I'm Kelsey, she said, extending her hand. Stephen accepted it with a firm grip and shook. Stephen. Kelsey could see the man looking her over. A smirk formed as he studied her bright pink coat. Do you do a lot of forest walking? Kelsey felt the flush in her cheeks. Not really. Jake passed Jennifer her backpack from the trunk and carried Kelsey's to her. Shall we get started? Stephen brought his hand up to his throat and gave it a fake clear. I'll be happy to start once I get paid. Oh, right. Kelsey fumbled with the zip of her backpack. She handed Stephen a small envelope. He thumbed through the contents. Satisfied, he stuffed it into his pocket. What is this, a drug deal? Jake asked. Stephen eyeballed Jake. His friendly demeanour vanished. No one's stupid enough to take you into this forest except me. I can't believe I'm doing it. You're welcome to take your money back and fend for yourself. Jake opened his mouth to reply. No, Kelsey said. Your deal is with me. I paid. Let's go. She motioned forward to disarm the dick measuring contest. Stephen led the way. Kelsey hurried to catch up. Jennifer dragged the reluctant Jake along behind. Kelsey never felt as insignificant as she did in that moment. The trees rose high in every direction. The snow-covered branches didn't look so beautiful anymore. An endless crowd of towering giants, suffocating her the deeper they walked. The wind was a horrible contradiction of gentle breath and icy fingers. A shiver rolled up Kelsey's spine beneath her jacket. For a moment, Kelsey considered putting her headphones on to take her mind off the eerie surrounds. Do you have your camera? Stephen asked. Yes? Stephen turned. His aggression toward Jake had vanished. The warmth had returned to his face. We're close to one of the places you're interested in. Kelsey pulled her pack from her shoulders and pulled her camera out. The creek just ahead was where they found some gear from the missing people. Stephen walked up a gentle bank. Kelsey followed. Wow. The trees gave way to the creek. The snowfall stopped as the clouds gave way. Sunlight sparkled across the frozen water. The click of the camera echoed through the still forest as Kelsey snapped away. I don't know enough about the cases to say whose stuff they found on the banks here, but from what I can tell from speaking with you before today, I think you know enough to work it out. Kelsey nodded without taking her eyes from the camera lens. Jake and Jennifer walked up the bank to join them. So how do we know this is the right place and you're not making this up? Jake said. Shh, Jennifer said. He's too pretty to lie. He's telling the truth, Kelsey said. I've seen this place in the photographs attached to the news articles I've read. Jake sighed. Why are you sulking like a little baby? Jennifer asked. He's not the first hotter guy than you we've seen, and he won't be the last. Kelsey felt the flush return to her cheeks. If she could hear what Jennifer was saying, then Stephen could too. We're running out of day, Stephen said. We need to keep moving. The group continued deeper into the forest, following Stephen's lead. The trees gave way once more without warning. Kelsey found herself standing in a large snow-covered field. This was the main camping spot all those years ago, Stephen said. This was the last place most of the missing people were ever seen. It's central to the main walking trails, fishing spots and hunting areas. Hunting areas? Jake said. I haven't seen anything moving around except us. Stephen's body tensed. The animals aren't stupid enough to be here like we are. He turned to Kelsey. Are you sure about this? We have enough time to get you back to your car before the sun goes down. Kelsey nodded. I want to prove there's nothing sinister out here for my project. I can't do that without spending the night. I know I agreed to come and get you in the morning, but I think it's better if you don't stay the night, Stephen said. Just lie and write in your project that you stayed here. This place isn't safe, especially after dark. Kelsey, still busy taking photos, paused to meet Stephen's eyes. There was a hint of something Kelsey hadn't seen there before. He's scared, she realised. Jake was already erecting the tent. We'll be fine. There was false bravado in his voice. I'll make sure we're all safe. My hero. Jennifer rolled her eyes. Resigned, Stephen closed his eyes. I'll be here as early as I can in the morning. Thank you, Kelsey said. Stephen ignored her and headed back towards the forest. Kelsey followed him with her eyes until he was out of sight. Thought he'd never leave, Jake said as he continued with the tent. Speak for yourself, Jennifer said. Now what am I supposed to look at? Kelsey ignored them both. A pit filled in her stomach, as she wondered if she'd made the right decision to stay. Kelsey was feeling better as night fell. Jake had a small fire going beside the tent, and the chill was leaving their bones. The clouds hadn't returned. Without the snow, the only cold to contend with came with the breeze. The full moon hung low in the sky. The dim light was unsettling. It showed just enough of the tree line surrounding the camp, without revealing the shadows behind. Jake was still sulking. Did we really need to come all this way? What's with you today, sad sack? Jennifer said. You knew what we were doing, you didn't have to come. To be honest, the fun sucking you've been doing so far, I wish you didn't. Jake couldn't hide his wounded pride. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't mean it like that. Then what? Kelsey asked. She was careful not to sound combative. If she could cheer Jake up, the night would be less painful. I just mean, if you wanted to disprove a scary story, couldn't we have just said Bloody Mary into a mirror at home? Kelsey had grown tired of walking on eggshells. You'd prefer I used a kid's story for my college assignment and put no effort in. She didn't give Jake a chance to respond. Jennifer's right. You should have stayed home. Kelsey got up and went into the tent. Smooth, Romeo, Jennifer said. Jake's cheeks flushed. What are you talking about? Jennifer giggled. Everyone knows how you feel about her, Jakey boy. Maybe rather than act like an arsehole all the time, try asking Kelsey out on a date. Jake was speechless. Jennifer shook her head. I'm going to check on Kelsey. You get more firewood. Jennifer found Kelsey unpacking her sleeping bag inside the tent. Are you okay? Kelsey nodded. I shouldn't have been so mean to him. He did drive us all the way out here. And? Jennifer said. No one made him, and that doesn't give him free license to treat you like shit. Jennifer's terrified eyes found Kelsey's. What the hell was that? I think it was a wolf. Kelsey headed toward the tent flap and poked her head out. Where's Jake? He went to get more firewood. Jake's scream echoed through the trees. Jake! Kelsey's eyes searched the darkness of the tree line. Jake! Jennifer poked her head out of the tent flap beside Kelsey's. Do you see him? There was a tremor of fear in Jennifer's voice. Kelsey shook her head. I have to go find him. Keep watch while I get my torch. Kelsey dug through her pack. Kelsey turned toward the tent flap. Jennifer's screams cut through the air. Kelsey dove forward and grabbed Jennifer's hands. Something unseen had hold of Jennifer's body. Help me! Blood sprayed across the tent flap. Jennifer coughed blood into Kelsey's face. Kelsey was pulled from the ground as Jennifer's body was lifted toward the roof of the tent, her body half in and half out of the tent flap. Kelsey fell backwards onto the floor, blood sprayed along the inside of both walls. A tremble filled Kelsey's lips as she stared at Jennifer's hands, still tightly gripping her own. Her mind couldn't comprehend what she was looking at. The severed wrists of Jennifer's hands dripped blood onto the floor of the tent. Kelsey let out a blood-curdling scream as her mind caught up. Claws ripped through the tent wall. Kelsey ran from the tent, still screaming. Wind left her as she tripped and slammed into the snow. She rolled over to see she'd tripped over Jennifer. Deep claw marks ran diagonally across Jennifer's face as her lifeless eyes reflected the light of the campfire. The snow beneath her body soaked in blood, looking black under the moonlight. The shadow stood over Kelsey. The beast stood on two legs covered in dark fur. Drool dripped from its jaw full of razor-sharp teeth. Claws hung at the ends of its powerful arms. Kelsey's body gave up on her. She couldn't move. Her mind refused to accept what was happening, and certainly wasn't prepared to consider the term werewolf. All Kelsey could focus on was the beast's green eyes. The green eyes that had been with her most of the day, led her to this place, begged her to leave before nightfall. Yeah, Kelsey knew those green eyes. If you like what you heard, please like and share the video, and please subscribe to the channel. Remember, the dark plays tricks with our mind, and sometimes it isn't a trick. Sometimes there really is something there.